Hello and welcome to my pop culture vlog. This is Alex, and today the concept that I'll be discussing is postmodernism. I'll firstly be trying to explain what I think postmodernism is, and then I'll be showing you some bits from one episode of South Park and trying to explain how that is an example of postmodernism. So, what is postmodernism? Now, it's difficult to define postmodernism because one of the key values of postmodernism is that there are no clear boundaries or definitive terms, but I'm going to try anyway. Postmodernism, I think, is a way of viewing culture without any distinction of high or low art. It rejects the elitism of modernism and signals an end to hierarchy. As American writer and activist Susan Sontag describes it, the distinction between high and low culture seems less and less meaningful. Sontag also described postmodernism as extremely history conscious and has some key elements of parody, which is an imitation of style with deliberate exaggeration in order to ridicule and poke fun at something. Pastiche, which is basically the same as parody, but it does it in a slightly more respectful way. And intertextuality, which is the shaping of text's meanings by other texts. As I said before, postmodernism has a belief in no definitive boundaries or absolute truths. According to Professor Andreas Hyssen, postmodernism signalled the refusal of what he called the Great Divide, that divide being the distinction between high art and mass culture. This is the foundation of other postmodern beliefs, such as end of grand narratives, the end of faith in history and science, and self-reflexivity, which is where a text openly reflects upon its process of artistic composition, also known as breaking the fourth wall. Now on to South Park. South Park is an animated comedy created by Matt Stone and Trey Parker and has been running since 1997. And for this discussion on postmodernism, I'll just be focusing on Season 7, Episode 13, titled Butt Out. The episode begins with a parody of a primary school education group teaching about the dangers of smoking. Writers Stone and Parker clearly exaggerate the underwhelming nature of the performance in order to condemn similar real-life education techniques seen in primary schools, which clearly do not work, in their opinion.
Yeah, because if you don't smoke, you can grow up to be just like us!
Here, give me another one.
This episode also parodies the American anti-smoking activist and celebrity Rob Reiner. Reiner is portrayed as being obscenely overweight, often eating entire cakes and stacks of burgers at a time. This is purposely done by Stone and Parker to create irony. This man, who is supposedly fighting for good health, can't even maintain his own. And in a typically exaggerated South Park style, Reiner is portrayed as having to be lubricated with butter before he's even able to exit his car. South Park also parodies the deceptive tactics used in anti-smoking campaigns, which admittedly fight fire with fire.
But isn't that kind of lying?
If we're gonna take them down, we've gotta lie right back!
Reiner claims that tobacco companies are evil liars and frauds, but in this episode they're presented as friendly and honest people.
With a hidey-lidey-lidey and a hidey-lidey-lay, we work and we make cigarettes all hidey-lidey day, so folks can get a breaky from their stressful lidey lives and relaxy with the cigarettes we make all day and night.
In contrast, the anti-smokers are portrayed almost like vampires who are willing to have even children killed in order to impose their will upon people.
Because by the time you see this commercial, I'll be dead. Hey, what was that dead part?
That was very good, Eric. Here, eat this cupcake.
No thanks, I'm not hungry.
South Park is filled with examples of parody, pastiche, and references to other texts, which is why it is such a good example of postmodernism. Every time South Park makes fun of something, it draws attention to its own appropriation, which is a key element of postmodernism. Traditionally, it is uncommon for TV shows, movies, and plays to refer to themselves as an act of fiction or address the audience directly. However, this self-reflexivity is an important component of postmodernism and occurs frequently within South Park. In this episode, Kyle continuously bemoans the fact that the show's structure is clearly following a formula. and in doing so, he breaks the fourth wall.
I know exactly what'll happen. They'll take us in, and then Rob Reiner will show up with all the townspeople holding torches or something, and there'll be a big showdown until we talk about what we learned and change everyone's minds. This is all following a formula. I've learned something today. You just hate... See? I knew it.
Yep.
That's it for my vlog today. I hope you've enjoyed it. To quickly sum up what I've discussed, postmodernism is a way of viewing culture which breaks away from mainstream convention and commonly held beliefs. And therefore, South Park is the perfect example of that, because when it comes to their parodies, there's no target which is off limits, and it often sparks controversy and debate in the media. Thanks very much for watching.